facts become so widely available and instantly accessible, I think I'll just Google that. How about your kids? They can tell you in 3 seconds what somebody's face looks like if you just give them the name. They can find a photo of somebody in a second. They can find the facts in a second. It takes me maybe 30 minutes to find that document or that picture. But when facts become so widely available and instantly accessible, each one becomes less valuable, says Pink. What begins to matter more is the ability to place these facts in context and to deliver them with emotional impact. Symphony is what he calls it. Is the ability to put together the pieces. It is the capacity to synthesize rather than to analyze, to see relationships between seemingly unrelated fields, to detect broad patterns rather than to deliver specific answers, and to invent something new by combining elements nobody else thought of. Don't you feel we're there? We're right at the edge of that. And everybody's saying, well, what's the vision going to be? What's your vision? It's that George Bush thing, you know? George Bush went, it's that vision thing. Well, somebody tell me what the vision is. We're all asking that question. Are people with disability services going to be combined with senior services? Isn't that already happening? Are we going to privatize? Are we going to take human services and position them completely differently? Is it all about just saving money? Or is it our commitment to delivering quality services to people? On stories, Pink says, stories capture the context, capture the emotion. Stories are important cognitive events, for they encapsulate into one compact packing information, knowledge, context, and emotion. Speak in stories to people. They want to know a story. Senator Harkin talks about Henry's turkey farm. That's home base to him. He sees all of the issues around 14C through the eyes and the people of that story. And he draws large conclusions based on that issue. There are a lot of other stories that we need to be able to tell, and a good storyteller telling the truth has to be able to give him stories of where things are working well. We abhor what happened at Henry's turkey farm. On empathy, empathy is not sympathy. That is feeling bad for someone else. It is feeling with someone else, sensing what it would be like to be that person. Empathy is a stunning act of imaginative daring do, the ultimate virtual reality, climbing into another's mind to experience the world from that person's perspective. Can people really do that? Sometimes they can, and they can do it very well. Can people substitute what it's like for them to wake up and put on prostheses and ride around in a scooter? You might be able to draw some conclusions, but I don't want people making my decisions for me in that manner. But we can be empathetic to what people might be experiencing, especially if they got to know me and understand, yeah, I get very frustrated sometimes, but for the most of my life, I am so blissfully happy and joyous and positive. People have to say, stop being so happy. All right? You're disgustingly happy. You're just happy guy. Well, I'd rather go through life like this than to be burdened by everyone else's problems, because I always think tomorrow is going to be better than today, and today was pretty darn good. All right? So that's the way I look at life. Daniel Goleman. I love Daniel Goleman's work. When Goleman wrote his first book, the internet was in its infancy, and those highly skilled Indian programmers were in elementary school. Today, cheap and widespread online access combined with those overseas knowledge workers are making the attributes measured by IQ much easier to replace, which has meant that aptitudes more difficult to replicate are becoming more valuable. And the one aptitude that's proven impossible for computers to replace is what? Empathy. They cannot replace empathy. On health. The rushed, just the facts approach to patient care may be changing. Columbia University Medical School pioneer Dr. Rita Sharon, in an article in the JAMA, Journal of American Medical Association, said, a scientifically competent medicine alone cannot help a patient grapple with the loss of health or find meaning in suffering. Along with the scientific ability, physicians need the ability to listen to the narratives of their patients, grasp and honor their meetings, and be moved to act on the patient's behalf. Several leaders in the medical field are urging the profession to shift its overarching approach from detached concern to empathy. The detached scientific model isn't inappropriate, it's insufficient. And I'm talking to providers now who listen every day to what's going on in the lives of people you are serving. Are you listening to what they're telling you? Are you able to solve those problems or help them solve their problems? Dr. Harold Koenig of Duke University says, we're at a place we were 20 years ago when doctors were asked to take a sexual history. Now we don't do that because it's irrelevant for most of the patients that people see. But Koenig estimates that between 5 and 10% of U.S. physicians take some form of spiritual history. Like narrative medicine, this merging of spirit and health is part of a more sweeping trend in medicine to treat each patient as a whole person rather than as a receptacle for a particular illness. I'm just going to give you some parallels so you can think where you fit into these issues, because I think it's important that we start examining how do we relate to mankind in a broader way.